In today's show, an anonymous tip from a Reddit user leads police to the Brown University shooter. Sony has purchased the rights to Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the rest of the Peanuts gang. And Mariah Carey's mega hit, All I Want for Christmas, has finally been dethroned as the #1 Christmas song. Plus, we've got fireworks in space, fireworks outside the European Union summit, and a GOP House member dropping out of a governor's race. We'll cover all that and more in today's show, but first, our trivia question. Do you know which species of tree is considered the Cadillac of Christmas trees? My Christmas tree gets boxed up in my basement every year, so I really have no idea. We can find out together at the end of this episode. It's Wednesday, December 20th, and this is the Flyover Podcast.
Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts.
Good morning. My name is Cole Stralo, and I'm the CEO here at the Flyover. Our intrepid hosts, Ayla, Amy, and everyone's favorite fill-in, Chris, are all out today, so I will be your host. I'm recording this episode in my office where I once composed the very first edition of the Flyover back in March of 2023. That feels like a very long time ago now that I'm saying it out loud. It's been a rewarding journey growing with you all, and I am truly thankful for the chance to bring the news to so many of you. First, through our email editions, and now through our podcasts. This is my first time flying solo on a podcast edition, so fasten your seatbelts. Let's take off. And side note, today's episode is audio only. If you're looking for a video, don't worry, you're not missing anything. Let's get started. And now to the first top story of the day. An anonymous tip led to the arrest of the Brown University shooter. Police say that the Reddit user, who had a strange encounter with another man on a sidewalk outside Brown University, provided the key to finding the man who killed 2 students at the school and later an MIT professor. The suspect, 48-year-old Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, a former Brown student, was found dead by self-inflicted gunshot wound Thursday night in a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire. After the tipper posted the information on the online forum Reddit, other users urged him to call the police, and John relayed a key detail: a Nissan with Florida plates that he thought was a rental. The tip, surveillance video, along with the use of license plate reader technology, led investigators to a car rental agency in Massachusetts, and ultimately to the Salem storage facility. Next, Sony has agreed to pay $457 million to double its stake in Peanuts Holdings, LLC, giving it 80% ownership of Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the whole Peanuts cartoon gang created by cartoonist Charles Schulz. The Japanese entertainment giant is buying the 40% stake it doesn't own from Canadian entertainment company WildBrain, which also owns the Teletubbies and Strawberry Shortcake brands. The deal announced on Friday values the Peanuts business at more than $1 billion, with the Schulz family retaining its current 20% stake. In addition to the Peanuts TV shows and specials on Apple TV, the brand encompasses thousands of consumer products, as well as amusement park attractions, social media, and comic strips in all formats. And in our final top story, the University of Texas at Austin's athletic program has been listed as the most valuable in the United States, topping a recent report of the 75 most valuable college athletic programs, with a combined valuation of $51.2 billion. That's 13% more than last year. The rankings covered NCAA football bowl subdivision schools and analyzed factors like conference affiliation, estimated NIL spending, school subsidies, alumni totals, and other drivers of revenue growth. Top-ranked Texas has a $1.48 billion valuation and generated about $332 million in revenue this year, up 23% from the previous year, with donors providing the largest share at $1.37 million. By comparison, number 75, University of Nevada at Las Vegas, carried a $190 million valuation and generated $61 million in revenue. Ohio State and Texas A&M both came in around $1.3 billion, and Georgia and Michigan were both valued around $1.16 billion, rounding out the top 5 programs. And now to our podcast extra stories. These are the stories you won't find in our email editions. First, Georgia officials have acknowledged that 315,000 votes from the 2020 election were certified despite missing required signatures. The admission came during a December hearing before the Georgia State Election Board after a challenge raised by a local election integrity activist. County officials said they do not dispute that many tabulation records from early voting sites were unsigned, which is required under state election rules. A separate investigation by the Georgia Secretary of State's office confirmed procedural violations. Despite those issues, the votes were still included in Georgia's final 2020 election results. And Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You has been dethroned as the #1 Christmas song. That's hard to believe given how many times I've already heard it this year, but I'll take their word for it. It's Wham's 1984 holiday hit Last Christmas that's reached #1 on the Billboard Global 200, unseating Mariah Carey's hit, which has topped the chart every December since 2020. Band member Andrew Ridgeley called the milestone a meaningful moment for Wham and for songwriter George Michael, whose team said the achievement would have meant a lot, noting how much he loved Christmas. Michael died on Christmas Day in 2016 at the age of 53. The chart reflects a broader seasonal takeover, with multiple classic Christmas songs filling the top 10 worldwide. And now it's time to do something very important. We're going to thank today's sponsor, Native Path Collagen. It's made with only type 1 and 3 collagen, the two types that make up about 90% of the collagen in your body. It supports your skin, hair, nails, joints, and gut without unnecessary fillers. It's a single ingredient formula, third-party tested for purity and completely flavorless, so you can mix it into anything: coffee, smoothies, soups, you name it. Native Path offers amazing bundle deals, and with a special link you can find in our show notes, you can grab 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. Over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee. Go to getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover to get yours today, or click on the link in today's show notes. And now to our political headlines. First, the Justice Department said on Friday that it will not be releasing all of its files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, despite Friday being the legal deadline. House Democrats said they were exploring legal options against the Department of Justice, and that should get interesting. In a surprise statement, Republican Elise Stefanik said Friday she is ending her campaign for New York governor and will not run for re-election to her House seat next year. In her statement, she said that many know me as Congresswoman, but my most important title is Mom. Similarly, Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming announced on Friday she will not seek re-election to the upper chamber next year, setting up an open seat primary in Wyoming. In Milwaukee, County Judge Hannah Dugan was found guilty of obstructing federal immigration agents during their attempt to serve a warrant on a man in her courthouse earlier this year. She now faces up to 5 years in prison. And finally, Democratic Party officials criticized the Democratic National Committee for saying it wouldn't release its internal autopsy of the party's losses in the 2024 presidential election. Party strategists said burying the report would unfairly help former Vice President Harris if she runs again, and shield top party consultants from the consequences of their mistakes. And now we go to the world of sports. First, in a sad story, former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle passed away in a tragic plane crash on Thursday with his wife, 2 children, and 3 other people in North Carolina. Biffle, 55, won 19 Cup Series races over the course of his career and was named one of the best 75 racers in NASCAR history. Investigators have yet to say what caused the crash, which happened during an attempted landing. On a lighter note, the FCS football playoff semifinals kick off this afternoon with a grudge match between in-state rivals Montana and Montana State. Then later this evening, Villanova plays Illinois State on the other side of the bracket. You can check out those games on ABC and ESPN2. In Houston, the Rockets ownership group is reportedly in discussions to buy the WNBA's Connecticut Sun and relocate the franchise to Texas. Speaking of the NBA, Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic had 13 assists against the Orlando Magic yesterday, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most assists by a center in NBA history. And that is some rare air. Okay, now it's time for some holiday stories. 'Tis the season. First, Target has been hit with a major systems outage in the final week of holiday shopping, affecting the retail giant's ability to fulfill online orders and process gift cards. U.S. shoppers have spent $187 billion so far this season. That's up 6% from last year. And presumably a little less of that than could have went to Target yesterday. Speaking of money, here's a fun or not so fun observation. In the movie Home Alone, which I attempted to watch with my kids the other night and realized was a bad idea, Macaulay Culkin's famous character Kevin McAllister spent $19.83 on his rogue trip to the grocery store. That same shopping trip today would cost you about $53. That's a 167% price increase. Ouch. I can't even imagine how much that beautiful house would cost these days. Finally, if you're into holiday cocktails, you might want to try a drink that's getting lots of traction online, namely the poinsettia. It's a holiday punch with a colorful 3-ingredient mix of Prosecco, orange liqueur, and cranberry juice. Sounds good. But I'm going to give you another tip free of charge. If you really want to impress your friends at a Christmas party, Google Clarified Milk Punch by the redoubtable Alton Brown. I know it sounds weird, but it was a favorite of none other than Charles Dickens for a reason. And I may or may not have made a few batches this year. Good stuff. And good luck. Now we go beyond the borders. These are our international stories. First, the U.S. military struck dozens of targets at multiple locations across central Syria on Friday, using fighter aircraft, attack helicopters, and artillery in retaliation for last week's attack that killed 2 American soldiers and a U.S. interpreter. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has approved a $35 billion natural gas deal with Egypt, a move encouraged by the Trump administration to help strengthen relations after the Gaza war. And lastly, European farmers are blocking roads and setting off fireworks in Brussels outside a European Union summit to protest a proposed free trade deal with South American nations that they fear would hurt their livelihoods. And Brussels isn't the only place with farmers making their voices heard. British farmers have been driving their tractors around Westminster protesting the inheritance tax threatening their family farms, among other things. Presumably, they had to make room for those protesting the spat of jail time given over Facebook posts deemed offensive, and the growing backlash at the Labour government led by Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Folks, it's a good day to live in the United States of America. And now we move on to the dessert course of today's menu, our etc. section. First of all, Pop-Tarts is inviting fans to vote for either Team Sprinkles or Team Swirls during the 2025 Pop-Tarts Bowl on December 27th, with the losing pastry getting eaten by the game's winner. The game is being played by Georgia Tech and BYU, and if it's anything like years past, I promise you the most interesting part will be the bizarre post-game ceremony, usually involving a giant toaster. Also, scientists say that rare firework-like images captured by the Hubble Space Telescope show massive collisions in the Fomalhaut star system, offering insights into our solar system's violent early history. I looked at these pictures and they are quite remarkable, and if you'd like to see them, you can click the link in today's show notes. And finally, Olive Garden announced it will debut a new January menu featuring smaller portions of 7 existing entrees at lower prices to address affordability concerns. In America, I couldn't agree more about affordability concerns in restaurants. It is not cheap out there. Okay, now it's time for our poll results. Yesterday, we asked you which holiday drink instantly puts you in the Christmas spirit. At the bottom was the hot toddy at 10%. I had a hot toddy the other day to help with a sore throat, and I can confirm it put me in the Christmas spirit. Next was the peppermint mocha at 12%, mulled wine or cider at 13%, other 16%, hot cocoa, of course, at 18%, and finally, the top dog was my personal favorite Christmas drink, eggnog, at 31%. Around my house, we cut it with a little bit of milk. I did that for my daughter, and she looked at me with a very hurt look on her face and said, "Dad, why are you ruining my eggnog?" Sorry. And today's poll question, which is very similar to our trivia question, what is your favorite type of Christmas tree? The Fraser fir, the balsam fir, the Douglas fir, the noble fir, an artificial tree, or other? For me, the answer is, if I'm at somebody else's house, I like a real Christmas tree that they chop down, that smells good, and I don't mind if the needles get everywhere. If I'm at my house, I like my artificial tree that comes right out of the box, just like it did last year. And with a little clarified milk punch and Jim Carrey's The Grinch on in the background, I don't even mind unfolding every branch and reshaping the whole thing. Okay, last but not least, it's time for the answer to today's trivia question. Which tree is considered the Cadillac of Christmas trees? It's known for its rich fragrance, excellent needle retention, and attractive blue-gray undertones. It is, of course, the Fraser fir. Have you ever cut down a Fraser for your Christmas tree? Can't say that I have. Leave us a comment and let us know. And that is our episode for the day. Thanks for flying with us, and thanks for putting up with us. I will say that this experience has made me appreciate our podcast hosts even more than I ever did before. Ayla and Amy and Chris, you are very good at this, and we appreciate you very much. I'm sure the people are excited about you coming back. To all of our listeners and readers, safe travels if you're heading out to visit far-off family like I am on Monday, with, I might add, my 2-month-old daughter on an airplane, so wish us luck. Hope you have a great time. Merry Christmas, and to all, a good day.